Hello students, welcome back to our final exam review. This is our last video. Today we will cover many subjects. So if you need to, please stop the video anytime. You can look at the slide, and I encourage you, please go back to our previous lessons so you can really see details. Today we're going to be quick to cover. I have to keep checking my watch as well. The video should be under 30 minutes. And I am Professor McFadden. Nice to see you again. I hope you've been safe this semester. So here's all the contents we're going to cover today. We got be verb, regular verbs with possessive pronouns, past tense. We have prepositions of place and directions. We have adverbs of frequency and prepositions of time. We have present and past continuous sentences, countable and uncountable nouns with there is and there are, and comparatives, superlatives. We have use of imperatives and sequences using should and shouldn't, future tense, order of adjectives, articles, demonstrative pronouns, and present perfect, and also causatives. So today I'm going to give you a small glimpse of each grammar point. You can stop the video anytime you want, look at it, or you can go back. I really want you to go back and look at our previous lessons for more details. Okay, so let's start. Fighting. So let's first look at our be verb. Remember, we had the subject, the be verb here. This is positive. Then we have our negative, and we have contractions. So I, you must remember I am, you are. He, she, is, we, they are, and they are. You can also say I am not, you are not, he, she is not. We can also contract these. Remember, we have contractions. I'm not, you aren't, she isn't, they aren't, and we aren't. So please remember, puchado deo, right? Next, we have here be verbs using 형용사. So this is the subject, I am, you are, we, they are, he, she, it is or isn't. This is mix. This is positive here, this is negative. And we have our 형용사, right? I am happy, you are sad, we are sleepy. Okay? So we have this with adjectives, 형용사. We can also use be verbs with singular and plural nouns. So we have our subject I, the be verb is, a student, 세울 수 있어요, 맞아요? And 이따가 더 설명할까요 about countable and uncountable nouns. So this is our singular, this is one. He, she, it is a friend, 한 명, 맞아요? And then we have our plural nouns here. Here's the subject, you, are, we, they are, students, 여러 개 있으니까. So we have many students. You are students. You. 여러분 학생들입니다. And they are friends. Okay, so please remember the difference between singular and plural nouns. Next, for be verbs, we have possessive pronouns, right? The cat is mine, 내 것. So we talked about this very briefly. You should already know this. I, mine, you, yours, he, his, she, hers, we, ours, and they, theirs. You can pause the video, or you can go back to our previous lessons. Next, moving on to regular verbs, 일반 동사. So this is dealing with the present tense, not 과거, not 미래, present tense. So I eat. We have the subject, the present tense verb, and the object, I eat lunch. But please remember, we have some rules dealing with he, she, it subjects. So remember, they eat, it eats, s 붙여야 해요. So the dogs, 그들, go, the dog goes. So we have some spelling rules here, right? So we have the plus s spelling rule. 왜냐하면 it이니까 아니면 he or she. We have plus s 아니면 plus es, plus ies, or plus s 규칙. And we use plus s when 보통, just singular subject. And we use plus es when the previous word, when the 동사 ends in ss, ch, x, thc, sh, or zz. So I passed the test. I passed the test. He, she, I'm sorry, 과가 아니에요. I passed the test. He, she passes the test. So P-A-S-S, S-S-이니까 plus E-S. And we also have the I-E-S rule. Y 빼고, I study English. She studies English. 맞아요? Plus I-E-S. And cries minus Y plus I-E-S. We also have here the plus S rule. I play soccer. We play soccer. She plays soccer. Just S. So here we have our 조동사. So do, the subject, verb, object. Do you like coffee? I do. Does she like coffee? She does. Or yes, she does, right? So we have the plural here and the singular does, or he, she does, it does, and I, you, we, they do. So here's some examples. So remember, if we have our 조동사 here, I like coffee, I do not like coffee. And sometimes we can use he, she does not like coffee, right? So the difference we studied before, the difference between do and does. He, she does, I, we, they do. I do not like coffee. And again, we could 붙여도 돼요. I don't like coffee. She, he doesn't like coffee. So next we covered our past tense. So similar rules. We have our spelling rules here. We have plus ed plus d rule, minus y plus ied rule, and 자음 모음 자음 있으면 plus 자음 ed. So here's an example. I worked all day yesterday. We plus ed. You baked a cake for my birthday. E 있으니까 plus d. She studied minus y plus ied. And I planned to go to 제주도. plan 자음 모음 자음 plus 자음 ed. Okay, now we have our past tense for be verbs. So remember, I am, I was. We were, we are, we were. You are, you were. They are, they were. He, she, it is. He, she, it was. So here's just the simple past. This is dealing with irregular verbs. So we already talked about the be verb. We can just do was or weren't or were, excuse me. And we have go, went, come, came, become, became, read, 발음 조금 달아요, read. So you can look up these on the previous lessons, or you can go to Naver and you can get a full list of these. So here's using past tense and 조동사. So I worked, I didn't work. They played, they didn't play. We studied, we didn't study. He went, he didn't go. Remember with the 조동사, we change. 조동사 becomes past tense, and we put the past tense verb back to go. Okay, so please remember that. 조동사이니까 this changes back. So now let's look at our prepositions of place. In Korean, you say 정치사. I'm going to check my watch to see if we're running on time. We are running on time. So please remember, for prepositions of place, they show where something is, right? So we have in, on, next to, under, in front of. We also studied beside, next to, also beside. In England, they use that often. And we also studied across from, 대각선. So we studied these. This, you can go back and look at those in our previous videos. So here's some examples. Where are the books? The books are under the chair and the table. Where is the woman? The woman is on the couch, right? Where is the window? The window is behind the couch. 뒤에 있어요. And where is the photo? The photo is next to the vase. The photo is next to the vase. 아니면 maybe it's, across from, maybe a little. So that's your 마음대로 해도 돼요. And we also studied directions, right? Go straight, turn left at the corner. It's on your right. Here's some of them. Turn right on Main Street. The hospital is on the left. 왼쪽에 있어요. My apartment building is straight up the road. So these are, or we studied go straight until the apartment building. So these are just some examples of what we studied in the 전치사 lesson. Here, moving on to adverbs of frequency and preposition of time. In Korean, you say 빈도부사 and 시간이 전치사. So remember, we studied these words: never, rarely, sometimes, often, usually, normally, always. So here are the percentages here. Of course, you can pause the video, but please go back and watch our previous videos. They often go before the main present simple verb. She sometimes eats toast. So she이니까 she 있어요, but 아직 plus s 붙여야 해요. So this is not 전치사. This is not 조동사. 조동사 아니에요. So she sometimes eats. Same, she rarely eats toast. And so we keep the s. But if I have I here, I sometimes eat toast. So the 동사 stays the same. 똑같은 규칙, 보통 규칙이에요. So after the verb to be, 혜윤 is never late for class. We studied the be verb here. 혜윤 is never late. Late is 형용사, 맞아요? So we need the is be verb here. Please be careful of this on your test. Hint. So here's some adverbs of frequency we studied using once a day, twice a day, 3 times a day. We studied this a little bit in our lesson. So you can change. I sometimes eat toast for breakfast. You could say, I eat toast for breakfast twice a week, something like that. Or 5 times a month. 그렇게 해도 돼요. So you could study once a day, twice a day, 3 times a day, once a week, twice a week. For your adverbs of frequency, you can replace those. So moving on to our prepositions of time. We studied in, on, at. So in we use for months, years, and periods of time. So for example, in July, I went to Jeju-do in July. I like to hike in summer. So we use in for these circumstances. We use on for days and dates. I went to Jeju-do on July 15th. So we have the on. I encourage you, please go back to our previous lesson for a full list of these. And at for an exact time. I ate lunch at 12 p.m. on Tuesday. Okay, so this is exact time. This is for the time we use at. So we have a full list on this in our previous lesson. We have limited time today, so I have to speed through. Present and past continuous. 현재 진행, 현재 진행 and 과거 진행. So we're looking at yesterday, before, and now. And we're not doing tomorrow or later. We're just adding plus ing. So we have the subject, the be verb, plus 동사 ing. So here's the subject, they. The be verb are eating. So I could say they are eating chicken now. 그렇게 해도 돼요. Or I could say he is climbing a mountain. I can change it to past tense, right? I could change it to past tense. So he was climbing a mountain. And we can also do negatives here too. So here's the subject, the be verb, not 동사 plus ing. So I am not sleeping. Remember, 붙여도 돼요. We can say I was not sleeping yesterday. I was not sleeping last week. And they are not visiting the museum. They weren't visiting the museum yesterday. They weren't visiting the museum yesterday, or you could do positive. They were visiting the museum today. So moving on to countable and uncountable nouns. Let me just check my time here. Okay. So we have 가산 명사 and 불가산 명사. So we talked about this a little bit. Students, I have a Korean translation in my slides regarding countable and uncountable nouns. You can go back and look at that regarding the there. So we could say there are many books there are a few books. This is mani, this is jokum, and this is countable nouns, right? So books, SS. And there are a lot of, or lots of books, or there are some books. Remember, this is our special. We can use this for countable. We can use the adjectives for countable or uncountable nouns. So remember, we already talked about these rules, 아까 전에, but just remember the plus S rule, the plus ES rule, the plus VES rule, and we have our special rule for counting a man, a woman, a child, men, women, children. So you can pause them and study this. And here are our uncountable nouns using there is. When we have much, we must use so much, too much, or not much water. 물이 셀 수 없어요. So there is a little water. So this is 조금, 맞아요? And remember, we can always use the adjective a lot of and lots of or some, 기억 못하면. So there is a lot of water, there is some water. So remember the difference between any and some. So we can use some for countable sentences. This is a positive sentence. I have some apples. And this is a negative sentence. I don't have any apples. I don't have some apples, 안 돼요. Okay, so this is positive. I have some apples. I don't have any apples. And we have our uncountable sentences here. I have some water. This is positive. And I don't have any water. This is negative. 물이 없어요. 그래서 any 사용해야 해요. And we also use these for some for request. Could I have some water? This is 친절하게 질문이에요. So could I have some water? Or we use any for questions. Do they have any plastic cups? Do they have some plastic cups? 안 돼요. And do they have any beer? This is uncountable for any, and this is a question. So moving on to comparatives and superlatives. This is 비교급 형용사 and 최상급 형용사. So here are the comparatives. We have the subject, the be verb, and the adjective, er, then objects. So I am taller than you. We have the 형용사 plus er, than you. He is shorter than you. We are weaker than you. But remember, we have some spelling rules for these. So we have our 형용사. Remember the syllable. So slow. Slow is one syllable. So we add plus r or plus er. Late, 벌써 이 있으니까 plus r. And slow plus er. And famous, 2 syllables, right? So we have more famous. Beautiful, 3 syllables. So we have more beautiful than. Skinny is 2 syllables, but y ending, 맞아요? So minus y plus ier, I am skinnier than you. Really, no. And fat is 자음, 모음, 자음, 규칙. with plus jaum er. I am fatter than you. And here's our crazy rules here. Good, bad is 1 syllable, but it's our crazy rule. So we can put I am better than you or I am worse than you. Also, we have our superlatives here. This is I, the subject, be verb, the, adjective, est. I am the tallest. He is the shortest. We are the weakest. And we also have our spelling rules here. So we have 1 syllable for late show. We have plus st or plus est. I am the latest. 2 syllables for famous, right? I am the most famous. I am the most beautiful, because 3 syllables. Skinny is 2 syllables, but y ending, 그래서 minus y plus iest. She is the skinniest in the class. And same, the 자음, 모음, 자음. I am the fattest. And good, bad, we have our crazy rules. I am the best, or I am the worst in the class. Moving on to commands and imperatives. This is 명령문. So remember, we have our 명령. The 동사 comes first. Wake up, eat, leave. We just need 동사만 해도 돼요. And we can be more polite. Please wake up. Please don't leave. Please speak. This is 친절해요. So then we talked about the differences. This is just a quick thing. Sequences. First, second, then, after that, finally, lastly. These are some things you can view on your own time. This is about talking about the order of things. And then we talked about the difference between should and must. So we have the noun should and then the verb. So I should exercise often. They shouldn't sleep in class. So this is the difference between, this is a recommendation, like 해야 해요. But must is a little different, right? We talked about that. Must is like, in Korean, same 해야 해요, but is more like 금지, remember? I want you to go back and look at that in the previous videos. So everyone must obey the laws. 안 하면 you die, yes? So and we talked about I need to take my medication. He has to pay his employees. So we talked about these differences. You can go back and look at the previous lessons. So moving on to future tense, this is 미래. So we had here the noun, will, the verb, another noun, and be going to. We talked about the difference between will and be going to. So I will eat a sandwich tomorrow. I am going to eat a sandwich tomorrow. We will have class at 2 o'clock. We are going to have class at 2 o'clock. It will snow tomorrow. It is going to snow tomorrow. And same with the negatives here. So we will not have class at 2. We are not going to have class at 2 o'clock tomorrow. So remember, 아직도 붙여도 돼요. We will not. We can say, I won't eat a sandwich. She won't go to school tomorrow. So here is the questions. Will I eat a sandwich tomorrow? Yes, I will. No, I won't. Am I going to eat a sandwich tomorrow? Yes, I will. No, I won't. Or yes, I am going to. Or no, I am not going to.